Welcome back, Honors Algebra 2. Today we're going to talk about some quick graphs. You have slope-intercept form up here, and you have standard form. If you're wondering what this said with SIF, that's slope-intercept. You don't have to write this down if you don't need to. And then this is standard form. We're going to go more into those in the next lesson, but today you just need to know these forms so you can do some quick graphs. Today's lesson is actually probably going to be pretty short. So standard form. Now, you guys should have learned this in Algebra 1, how to graph lines using either slope-intercept form or standard form. Slope-intercept form is probably the easiest way to graph besides point-slope form because you are given the slope and you're given a starting point. Your y-intercept is your starting point. This means that the graph starts at 0, 3. So you go down to here and you go to 3. That's my starting point. And then remember, we talked about slope last lesson. This is rise over run. So we're rising 2 and we're going over 3. So I'm going to rise 2 and over 3. There's my new point. Rise 2 over 3. Rise 2 over 3. I know it's very repetitive, but it's good to get as many points as possible, and you go backwards too. Down 2 and to the left 3. Obviously it has to be the same line or else it wouldn't make sense. So, alright. And there we go. The reason why I put as many points as possible is it makes the line look a lot nicer when you graph it. Now, I'm not the best at graphing lines, but that was actually not that bad. And there's our line, our quick graph. Okay, so you guys could probably try 2 and 3 on your own. If you want to try that, just pause the video. Otherwise, I'm just going to go. So, starting point is 6. Starting up there. Notice the negative sign. That means we're going down and to the right as opposed to up and to the right. Down 3. To the right 4. There's a point. Down 3 to the right 4. There's another point. I can go up 3 and to the left 4 also. 1, 2. And there's my line. And you just connect the line dots and then you got your line. Okay. Now you look at this one and go, wait, I don't have a starting point. Well, what happens when you have nothing here? That's the same thing as 0. So we start at 0. And then we have a slope of 3. When you see 3, automatically just write it as 3 over 1, just so you kind of remember what that means. We're going up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, and so on and so forth. Down 3 over 1 to the left, and there's my line. Again, I used as many points as possible. It just helps me when I draw it. So, alright, so that is slope-intercept form. Should be a review. Hopefully you guys are good with that. We have now our vertical and horizontal lines. When x is 4, where is that? It's right here. Now, do not go like this. This is not what you do, so don't draw right now. I'm just going to show you. A lot of people go, oh, 4, and then they go like this. That is not x equals 4, because now x can be 9, 8, 7, 6. You just went through all the x values. X equals 4 is here. X equals 4 here, 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 here. It equals 4 everywhere along this vertical line. When you see x equals, it goes through the x-axis and it's vertical. The opposite is true of y equals. You find where y equals -5, it goes through the y-axis. It tells you what it's going to go through, and there's your horizontal line. Okay, again, if you remember from the lesson yesterday, or whenever day that was you watched it, there you can have, this is a 0 slope because you could stand on it. This is an undefined slope. You would fall right off that wall. Alright, so now, this is standard form, and we use the cover-up method for this. This is how you quick graph for standard form. Pretend x is 0. So I'm going to pretend x is 0 now. If x is 0, this goes away. Now just solve this formula. Well, you get y is equal to -6. So, I have x is 0, y is -6. That's one of my points. Okay, now we're going to cover up the y. We're going to say, well, what happens when y is 0? When y is 0, I cover it up. I solve this. You get x is equal to 4. So there's my point right there. All you need is 2 points to connect a line. I did not have a slope here. I did not have a, actually I did have the y-intercept here because that's when x is 0. So, but I do not have a slope. I just have these 2 points. That's all I need for standard form is the 2 points and then connect them. Okay, so that's called the cover-up method. Just cover one of them up, solve for the other letter, and then do the same thing. You're basically putting in a 0 for x to solve for y, and then you're putting in a 0 for y to solve for x. Why don't you guys try that on your own? Yes, you can get fractions if you're wondering on this one. So try that one on your own. Pause the video. You could actually try both of them. I'm going to quickly do them. I'm going to cover that up first. 5y equals 10, that means y is 2. So I get y equals 2 from that. And now I'm going to cover up the other one to solve for the x. This is where we get a weird fraction. We get x is equal to, let's see, 10 over 4 or 5 over 2, which is 2.5. So that's about right there when y is 0. And we have our 2 points. We kind of connect them there. And we go, and we're done. And then the last one, we just solve this. X equals 4. I basically gave you this one already earlier. Vertical line through the x-axis at 4. So those are some quick graphs. That's all you have to do with quick graphs. Now we're going to just do one word problem that involves standard form. School band is selling sweatshirts and t-shirts to raise money. The goal is to make $1,200 worth of profit. Sweatshirts turn a profit of $2.50, while t-shirts turn a profit of $1.50. Write an equation in standard form that models this situation. Well, the first thing you have to do is identify your variables. If I don't give you variables here, you have to identify them. I'm going to say that we're going to use T for t-shirts. I know that's very clever of me there. Now, I'm going to try to use S for sweatshirts, but my S's are not the best. They look like 5s. So, just remember that. Okay, so now we have to just come up with an equation. Well, the profit equation, we want it to equal 1,200. So I'm going to equal it to $1,200. I know that sweatshirts turn a profit of $2.50, so $2.50 times S. Plus, the other thing I have is $1.50 for t-shirts. Okay, equals 1,200. So that would be a standard form equation that models this situation. Now it says write the equation in slope-intercept form. Well, this is a little weird because I used S's and I used S's and T's. Well, let's pretend S is like X and T is like Y. It doesn't matter each way unless I specifically told you I want the equation in terms of the other. I did not here, so I'm going to solve for T. I'm going to say T is like my Y. So I get $1.50 times T is equal to, and then this turns into 1,200 minus $2.50 S. And then to finally solve, so it's in slope-intercept form, we divide by 1.5, everything. And T is equal to, and you can think of this as Y, is equal to, I'm going to put the slope first. This turns into negative 5/3 S. And then this becomes plus 800. Okay, so we now have a slope-intercept form equation relating T and S. So now we can just use our calculator to find the number of t-shirts or sweatshirts sold if you sell blank. Okay. Now, this you can kind of just use your function notation. We started that before. If we look here and we do y equals, and I plug in this function, negative 5/3 x, because s is representing x here, plus 800. Now there's a bunch of ways to do this again. Second, quit. Again, you can go to vars, move over to y vars, hit enter, and hit enter. I want to know how many t-shirts, which is my y, when I have 30 sweatshirts. We hit enter, 750 t-shirts. So, if I do that, I do y1 of 30, gets me 750 t-shirts. Okay, we can do the same thing with this one here. So, if I'm going with this again, the calculator, you can hit second enter, and redo what we want to find. So I'm going to put in 350 instead and hit enter, and I get 216.666. Well, we can't really sell that, but in order to turn the profit, we probably have to round up, because it would make sense that we'd have to sell a little bit more to make sure we have our $1,200. So I would say my Y1 of 350 is equal to 217 t-shirts. It also makes sense because it makes sense that this would go down, because the more sweatshirts you sell, the less t-shirts you have to sell in order to still make your $1,200. Now, if I only sell sweatshirts, let's say there are no t-shirts, that means that I need $1,200 equal to 250 or $2.50 for the sweatshirts. So the number of sweatshirts sold would be $1,200 divided by $2.50, which would be 480. Now, if I do the same thing for t-shirts, it's $1.50 per t-shirt. You probably have to sell more to get up to $1,200, which makes sense. You divide by $1.50, and you get 800 t-shirts for that problem. Okay, so just a way to use slope-intercept form and function notation again to find answers to a problem. I hope you guys understood that. If there's any questions, again, please either post them on Edmodo tonight or come with them to class tomorrow and we will cover them. Alright, and I will see you next time.